Hello, everyone. Happy September. And I will be lighting up, I already light up this candle. So we're going to be talking about how to state your questions when you are asking the tarot cards for, a reading. You're doing your own reading. All right. So I'm going to be playing with the Cosmic Tarot. Okay, today. That's what I'm going to be playing with. All right. And I like how they write out the definition for the deck. I like that. Okay. So I'm going to be shuffling. And when you're asking, I think I'm going to title this video How to Ask Your Tarot Questions. Okay. So how you phrase the question. All right. I've been doing some research on the tarot cards, and basically there was an original meaning in different drawings before it became Christianized, because you'll see they'll have like the Pope on it. They'll have the death with like the Pope on the cover, and stuff like that. This one is different. It doesn't have all of that on there. I'm making sure that I take out an extra card. So I like this artwork as well. And I probably should have used the Rider-Waite as well. So I might pause the video and go grab that deck as well, because I want to make some points. Okay, I'm back. So I ran and I got the traditional Rider-Waite. Okay. And whoa. Okay, so we're going to talk about how you phrase the question, because not everyone is a psychic, intuitive, strongly intuitive, right? Everyone has intuition, but some have it stronger, and some people are very psychic. So when they use the tarot cards, they can ask it in any way they want, right? But really, you're supposed to ask the tarot cards, how can I? Okay, so how can I make my life better? How can I advance my career, my job? Don't be desperate when you're reading the cards, because your own emotions are going to get in the way. Okay, don't throw all of your hopes and your responsibility into the cards. That's just crazy, right? So it's that desperate energy. So you want your reading to be productive, insightful, and uplifting. That's the most important thing. You want it to be productive, insightful, and uplifting. All right. And even if the answer is a reading that you don't want to get, like the cards is what you don't want to get, you end up, this happens to a lot of readers. They'll go to someone else. People talk. If you're in the same circle where you get readings from someone, people talk. Unfortunately, I don't. I keep my stuff private, whatever the person says, But you'll hear things, and it's like, the reason why things aren't going well, it's energy wise. If you're doing stuff that's off, karma is the energy you put out, the actions you put out. Sometimes it doesn't affect some people because they're above that. That's a whole other subject. And it does affect them, but they just keep it rolling and they look at the positive side of it because they don't care. And there's different levels to people, right? But you're asking the questions in a way that you'll get the best answer for how the cards are. Okay, if the person is intuitive, they can give you a reading by asking the question, what do I need to know right now? And the cards lay that out. That works for me whenever I read for people. If they have a specific question, they could keep it in their mind, and I'll pull the cards and see if it pops up, and I'll let them know it will pop. Maybe it will pop up, maybe it won't. A lot of times it does. Then after I do that reading, I say, okay, did the question you have get answered? Yes, kind of. Okay, verbally say what the question is, and then they'll say it, and then they'll get the reading, and it's a clearer answer. Okay. So, okay. Another thing is, what can I do to have my love life better, have my health better, have my financial life better? Okay, that's another way of asking the question. Another one is, what do I need to do right now? Okay, so what do you need to do right now to make things better? That's one thing you could ask, right? For whatever your issue is. You may already have 3 ideas, like what's in my I wrote down my notes here and I'm trying to get it all clear for you guys. What lessons am I not learning to overcome? What lessons am I not learning to overcome these challenges? Okay. What is keeping me from achieving this goal? Right? So you might already have these kind of 3 ideas, what do I need to do right now? What is keeping me from achieving this goal? Because maybe there's a lesson that you're not learning, that you're repeating, or maybe there's a blockage. Maybe someone is saying something about you and it's blocking you in that way. Sometimes a person, especially if you're trying to advance in work, just because the person is the owner, or I don't know, is advanced somehow, doesn't mean that they're seeing clearly, right? So whatever the situation is, a status doesn't mean that the person is completely balanced, right? We all have something to work on, all good, right? Sometimes not all good, but we do, right? So to recap, how can I is one way of asking. So if you have your tarot cards right now, just get them out and start shuffling them. I like to shuffle them a long way, especially if it's the oracle cards. These are not oracle cards, but sometimes I like to shuffle them like this. Then I like to shuffle them this way. Okay. So recapping, how can I? Okay. And then you fill in the blanks. Okay. What can I do to? Okay. All right. So moving on, then I'll pick some cards. Moving on. Okay. How not to ask these questions. Okay. So these are ones that you could see, but how not to ask these questions. They're good for people who are new to reading cards, who are not intuitive at all, and you're not intuitive at all. All right. I need to put on another light because this keeps going orange in and out, orange in and out. Okay. So if you're new to reading cards and you're not very intuitive, then how not to ask questions in tarot reading. This is good for you to review. Okay. If you are intuitive, then you don't need the cards, okay? That's just how it is. You won't need the cards at all. Now, here's what is said, how not to ask your questions. Okay, will I win the lottery? That's like crazy. Everyone wants to win the lottery. And then the other question is, do you know how to manage money, right? And saving what you have, right? So it's kind of like, yeah, it'll be great to win the lottery if you're good or not good with money. That's something that the cards can't tell you, because what if it says yes and you interpret it as yes and you never do? That's just, is what's meant to be, right? All right. So will my love leave me? Questions about romance, like stated in that way, right? Does so-and-so hate me? Does this person hate me? Does this person not like me? It won't give you that exact answer, but it will show you, it will come up as what's wrong maybe with you, your personality, and that person's personality, or maybe something that's affecting that person that has nothing to do with you, but then you'll interpret it that way and it has nothing to do with that. Okay, so you could state that differently, but usually when you're upset at someone or thinking in that way, you're not thinking what that person's going through. You're only worried about yourself, so you're not going to interpret it in the right way because your emotions are off. And the cards are technically divine, right? They're like there are tools to use for you to understand 78 different situations, levels in life that you're experiencing. So it's coming at you at a higher level of awakening. So you have to approach it in that way. So you have to feel your emotions, how you're feeling, then chill, and then say, okay, how am I going to move through this? And that's where the lesson is in the tarot. Okay, so what's my soulmate name? Oh gosh, I have to do a video on soulmate. So there's different beliefs of clusters of people you're born with, right? But I don't want to get into it. Here I am getting into it. What is your soulmate, and why are you so interested in that, right? And then it's not going to really understand this whole soulmate thing, right? Because a lot of people could be good for you. So that's not a good way of stating it, right? And then you have to look into, what are you not looking at that you need to do now? Because when that person's supposed to come, they'll come to you. And then what are, maybe things that are going on that is blocking that, or you're not ready for that, or you're not seeing the person because maybe you have an idea in your mind of what that person is supposed to be like, right? So it's not going to tell you the name of the person. An intuitive person, it's like one in a thousand, or 1 in 1,000 you'll find a psychic, or a million you'll find someone that could tell you that, with no cards, or with a card. Am I pregnant? Those are things that you can find out by yourself. Should I take this job? That means that you're having doubts about something, right? So another question would be, finding out it's your star card. So what is your passion for your job, right? Maybe you need to work on yourself to figure out what you like, right? So that's not a good way of asking. What do I need to know right now? They had that on there as not a good one. That one works for me. It pops up. It will show you, what do I need to work on right now? Or what do I need to know? I feel that one works for me. Saying whatever they want to tell me, the person will go, oh, what do you want a reading on? The reader will ask, what do you want a reading on? They're like, oh, whatever the cards want to tell me. Okay, so you'll state it a different way, as, what do I need to know right now? Right? That one is fine. I've seen that listed online as like not a good one, but that one works for me. Okay, and works whenever I give readings. Will I win a court case, or stuff like that? Make sure, will I win the lottery? Who's my soulmate's name? Will I win the lottery? It's doing other kind of spiritual work to bring prosperity into your life in different ways, so that you will win the lottery in a different way. So your lottery, you're thinking of lottery like that lottery, but maybe your lottery is something different. And when will I get married? You can get married anytime, but it doesn't equal out to anything. It's other things that are more important. So that's like an off balance way to approach the card. Okay. So what I'm going to do for fun is set an intention for, I'm going to pull 3 different cards, and I'm doing a reading for you to just hold a thought of whatever it is that you want to know about. Okay. Just based off of everything that we just talked about. I have to scratch my back. Okay. So just hold a question in your mind. How can I, okay, or what can I do to? All right, so hold that thought. All right. And I'm going to start shuffling. Here we go. Okay, so we got 10 of Cups. All right. And I like that. So when we're looking at the 10 of Cups, the 10 of Cups signifies water element, okay? It signifies emotions. It signifies also you starting over and finding or recognizing leadership within yourself. All right? It can represent harmony, love. Let me hold the card up. It could represent harmony, love, bliss, things that you want to achieve, family, relationship. It could represent divine love. So maybe it's you starting that big family that you want. It could be a big company meeting or company party, business party. Okay. So seeing what that means for you in the question that you asked. All right. Maybe it's being more understanding to the group's need. So maybe if you're going to hold a meeting, maybe you should have everyone say what their suggestion is and take notes. And then you can say what your suggestion is. And then you, being the leader of whatever group it is, then say which, 3 steps or which one is the best one, right? And then that way everyone gets to say how they feel to get give advice. Because if you say it first, then they usually might agree with it, but you might get a great suggestion out of it. But definitely share what you thought. Maybe you agreed with 2 people, but then you say, that was my idea as well. And it's still a good idea, but I feel like this other one would be better. So that it creates a good atmosphere for everything that you're doing, where you're working and so on. Okay? So that's a good strategy for doing that. Okay? So, all right, second one. So let's shuffle. All right. So hold a thought, ask a question. How can I, or what can I do too? Okay, Queen of Wands. I love it. Okay, so this one is all about, let me move in. Okay, so this one is all about fire energy. Okay, so it's really believing in yourself. It's you working towards what it is that you want, knowing your power. Whenever any queen comes around, it's really knowing your power, connecting to your feminine energy. Okay, male or female, doesn't matter. It's having confidence, it's having courage. Okay, having confidence, having courage to do what it is that's needed, even if you can't see how this is going to play out. Is having the confidence and the courage to go about what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Okay. It's being sociable. It's really communicating with everyone, and just being social, and connecting to people rather than what maybe you want. It's really just connecting on a personal level to that person. It's making something happen out of nothing. It's really finding that courage, having determination, feeling independent. Even though you're working as a team, it's feeling independent about what it is that you are doing, what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Okay. And It's also appreciating everything that you already have, right? So to get into this queen mode, you have to appreciate everything you already have. All right. And it's really maybe moving up in life. Maybe you're having more energy than ever and you're feeling more motivated than ever. And this is your time to really tap into that energy, because when you're thinking of tarot, it also go in line with astrology, because the original tarot deck is very much astrology as well, okay, and numerology as well. All right, so I haven't gotten a number one yet, but I haven't gotten an ace or a 1 through 10. So third question, so third time, okay, so how can I, or what can I do to, and then you just state your question like that, okay. Five of Swords. Okay, so Five of Swords. Now, usually Five of Swords, it looks different, like a fighting competition, right? But the fives come up when there's conflict, okay? When you are when you're having some kind of conflict. So either you're having a conflict with yourself or with someone else, but there's always a conflict. Okay, it's always a challenge when it's at a number 5. And you think of 5 as the 5 elements, right? So earth, air, water, and spirit. Okay, so this is you really learning that life lesson, and now you are becoming your own master, because you really have to fight with yourself. And when I say fight, it doesn't have to be negative, but you're supposed to be worried about you. And it's not a selfish thing. You can't worry about somebody else. You have to worry about, how good am I to myself today, the people around me, like what BS am I saying to myself in my mind, pumping myself up. Like, you should have too much things to worry about in your mind to be worried about other people and what they're thinking about you. And you shouldn't even be worried about thinking about other people negatively, because you should be worried about you. So that whenever that 5 comes up, and you think of it as the 5 elements, you're not going to go to someone that's like, oh yeah, I think I can do that surgery. You want to go to someone that knows that they can do the surgery on you, right? So who are you being to yourself and for yourself, right? So you think of the 5 in that way. The 5 is like the coins or the pentacles. It holds all that element, that energy, right? So it's really that mastery. The Magician has the 5-pointed star on there for all those elements, right? He has all the tools. That's all the elements: water, the cup, the wand, so the Magician is that alchemist that could turn a negative into a positive. So when you're going through a 5 isn't negative. 5 is very positive, because there's different things to learn. So it doesn't have to be negative, right? So say if you're going through something and you're like, oh, that's a problem, but it's not that deep of a problem. But sometimes it could be a deep struggle, but you learned a valuable lesson from it, right? So never view the 5s as negative. It's not a negative number. It's just one that if you really learn the lesson, you master that, and then you could be that wise man or woman to someone else that needs that advice, and hopefully they listen, right? The 5 is also adaptability. Like, say 5 of Pentacles, they're homeless, or they're locked out of the church. They're not a part of that group or that society anymore, right? So they use the church to show them outside of a church or a barn. So you're not a part of that meeting, that secret club, that meeting, that group. So you're not a part of that anymore. So you feel shunned, you feel locked out, right? So you have to learn adaptability to say, hey, I'm a new person in town, or I'm not a part of that group anymore, or for whatever reason, maybe they weren't advancing, or, whatever reason, you're not a part of that group anymore. Okay. So it's teaching you adaptability. It could be competition. Maybe someone and you got in an argument. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're a little wrong. Maybe you started out right, then you just got really bad, and then whatever, it's still an argument. One of the photos show a person being cocky, like they won the argument. Some people, you can't argue with them because they'll feel threatened by it, right? they don't want to seem weak, even if they know that they're wrong. So it represents an argument. Okay. It could also represent you being forced to grow up. So now you have to grow up. Okay. You're experiencing something that, okay. 3 of Cups, right? I think 3 is spilled and you only have 2 left. So it's dealing with, by the way, this is 5 of Swords though. Okay. 5 of Swords. So you're dealing with, what did I say? I'm trying to remember what I said. Okay. Forced to grow up. So 5 of Cups, you're forced now, say that you had to move and lose some furniture. So you lost a lot of your furniture, but you saved the most important things for you. And now you're like, you know what, when I start over, I'm not going to live above my means, or I really just learned to value myself. So I'm not going to make, whatever that mistake is again. But the most important thing is not to be bitter from that life lesson. So, if you're bitter from that life lesson, then you're not going to learn anything, right? You're just going to be bitter, and then you're going to miss your blessing. You're going to miss that good woman or good man for the next relationship because you're bitter, right? So you just let that negative experience ruin you. 5 of Cups. Oh, I almost missed it. So here I'm just showing you the 5 of Cups as an example, right? But let me show you as an example the 6 of Pentacles, right? The 6 of Pentacles now, and I'm going to do a video on, I should have done, whatever, I'm letting it flow. It's showing a rich person giving money to a poor person. And then the poor person is going to, they don't show it in this, but the poor person is going to help that rich person back out again. And if it's not the poor person helping the rich person out again, let's just say it in that way, then the rich person is going to be blessed in another way. So it's kind of like that. It's showing that cycle. Okay. So the 5 is always talking about some kind of lesson. And that lesson you're learning at 5, that's a halfway point to 10. That lesson you're learning at 5, because if you resonate with this 5, and it's a 5 of Swords that we pull, if you resonate with that, this means that this is a great learning experience for you. And then tomorrow Saturn's going to go direct, boom, a lot of good things can come your way with that 5. And 5 is air, is words. So use words to heal yourself, and use words to help yourself out to get what you feel you need or you want. Okay. All right. I think this is the third one. So think now, clear your mind. How can I, and then fill it in, or what can I do to? Okay. Okay. So Prince of Pentacles. I think this means the Knight of Pentacles. Okay. So I'm going to take it from, I'm pretty sure that this represents in the Cosmic Tarot. Okay. So this is the Knight of Pentacles. So the Knight of Pentacles has to do with ideas. Okay. And the knight is on the horse in the traditional deck, and it's looking at the pentacle. Okay. So it's on the horse, and it's looking at the pentacle, and it's paused, and it's just like looking at it. Okay. So this is what it looks like in this deck. So it's, and right up here you have, it's not a deer, but it's like something from that family, just stopping on the cliff and like looking, right? And a flag usually represents victory or something. So it's trying to get from that one side to the other. And it's kind of like the good and bad angel, and the man's mind is right here, right? The good, right? So this is well, potentially could be bad because you're sitting there contemplating, and then the flag is a good because flags always represent celebration, victory. This is how I'm interpreting the picture on this card. And then his mind. So he's thinking, right? He's stopping and he's thinking about where he's going to go. You can see the pentacle right here. Okay, so he's thinking about, oh, I just thought of my idea. I just had all these plans. Now I'm going to move forward. But wait, I got to pause on the path because maybe I see a storm ahead or a flood, whatever, mud, God knows what. I'm going to take my horse. We're going to go upriver and try to, get a better, see if there's a better crossing, whatever, right? So along the way of whatever you're planning, you're going to have to be flexible to change it up. So just always keep in mind, options to changing things up. Nights, you're fighting for yourself, okay? And it's going back to how I just said 5 before, right? And the star has 5 points, right? So this is another sign, if you will, another message of really fighting for yourself to evolve, right? So you're learning from that lesson, earth, air, fire, and spirit. So it's all these elements that sustain us on this planet. So how can we find our footing and be grounded in ourselves as we try to get to where we want to go, right? So it's really heeding everything that we've been through and doing the best we can along the way, right? And fighting for yourself along your journey. There's going to be moments where you have to stop, pause, think, and so on, but it's really fighting for yourself and rethinking things along the way. So a knight isn't playing around like, okay, maybe I'll try this move, maybe I'll try this move in battle, right? So if you think of your life and it doesn't have to be in a negative way, but it's more of strategically looking at your life and your actions, right? So the knight isn't going to just go, okay, maybe I'll try this or maybe I'll try that. It's really looking at what your goal is, your objective, and then going after it the best way that you can. Okay, so I hope that this helps in how to phrase, how to ask questions with the tarot, and realizing that if you are not tuned into your own spirituality, you're new to it, asking it in this way, how can I and what can I do, is good. And then having a good book